Welcome to another episode of Basement Philosophy. In this episode, we will be discussing Viktor Frankl and his theory of logotherapy. Viktor Frankl spent many years of his life living in a Nazi concentration camp. He watched his family suffer and barely walked away with his life. Through all of this, Mr. Frankl learned a very important lesson: to have a positive outlook. Logotherapy was hardly a new concept in Mr. Frankl's day. It had been around for a good decade before Mr. Frankl even came near the concept. In his analysis, he focused on three main points: freedom of will, will to meaning, and meaning of life. Frankl's entire theory of logotherapy is derived from these 3 points. The first part of this logotherapy is the concept of freedom of will. Man has freedom, and is not held back by his conditioning. Just because the environment is one way does not mean that a man will be forced to do anything. He still has free will to choose his own path. This freedom is from our spirituality, or the fact that each of us is more than merely a ball of matter, that is, we have a soul. This notion of freedom probably sounds obvious, so what purpose does it serve? Why is it important to remind ourselves of our freedom? The answer, of course, goes back to Frankl's desire to persevere in the Nazi concentration camps. Because of this freedom, humans are able to choose how we feel or act in certain situations. So, in the case of Mr. Frankl in a concentration camp, he is not required to feel upset at his conditions. Just because his situation is horribly awful does not mean anything, because he has freedom to choose how he reacts to it. He can choose to react positively just as easily as he could choose to act negatively. The next part is astonishingly simple: will to meaning. Because it has been established that we as humans have this freedom, it only makes sense to assume we have this freedom for a purpose. In life, we make goals, and we strive to achieve them. It helps us feel fulfilled and feel like we are serving a purpose. People who feel bad, due to something like depression or anger, can use logotherapy to remove the negatives from their lives, set goals, and feel more fulfilled. The key is to find your own goals and finish them, not the goals of someone else, because only in completing your own goals can you feel truly fulfilled. The last part is meaning in life. Now, first it must be stated that meaning is an objective reality. It is not some kind of subjective reality, at least according to Mr. Frankl. That being said, there must be concrete, objective meaning in life due to the objective nature of reality. Because of our freedom, we as humans need to find the meaning in each moment. Unfortunately, this becomes complicated because moments are always changing. Thus, meaning is always changing, the moment's meaning changes with time. As these meaning are found, they will teach us how to act in any given situation. If we see meaning in something, we should find the best way to act on it. These meanings, though, are not always connected. The point is not to find a whole, objective meaning to life. It is instead to help us build each day in what feels like a meaningful way. It is to help us find fulfillment in all of the otherwise mundane portions of our lives. Viktor Frankl's logotherapy is created, while he was in a concentration camp, with the specific purpose of staying positive. Mr. Frankl's logotherapy aims to help find meaning in everyday things that are otherwise boring, or in awful things that are otherwise horrible. This logotherapy is built with one goal in mind, and that goal is to help people persevere through difficulty by looking for meaning on a smaller everyday scale rather than looking at life as a whole. And, it also teaches to use freedom, because it is a gift that allows us to overcome anything, as we can react however we choose. As they say, only you can take the pain away through strength of the mind. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Basement Philosophy. Join me next time for more philosophizing. Cheers.